Alright, I'm coming back at you with another video tonight. So in this one we're going to cover creature template add-on, and smart scripts. Smart scripts you will never actually have to go into by yourself. We have a handy dandy tool for that. We're going to go ahead and put that on the taskbar actually. Alright, so to start off, we need to find a safe entry range. As you can see, anything after 300,000 seems to be a good fit. Just don't delete this. Seems to be important. Entry between, we'll do 400,000 and 500,000. Insert row, 500,000. We'll make the first one a welcome NPC. And if these are in your way, you're generally not going to need most of these. So just right click, again, right click on any of these, uncheck the ones you don't want, click OK, and there you go. So the name, we'll do welcome NPC. We'll do female name, the same thing, subname, name of your project or WoW server. WoW emulation market. If you hold Control and push the plus on your keyboard, it will automatically align these up perfectly. So model ID, I'm going to share something that I use on a daily basis. Select. We'll do concat more creature model info CMI order by rand limit 10. And we will type right here CMI dot model ID comma space. We'll just paste this again. Then push, you can either push this little play button or just push F9. And right there, there's your morph command. You just copy and paste this in game. It'll give you just a list of 10 random ones. I did limit 10 because otherwise it'll show every value in the table, and that might cause your Heidi SQL to crash. And you got the command right here. Super simple. We're not going to actually go in game to do this, but we'll just paste one. Min level and max level, we'll do 90 and 90. EXP is the expansion. This is for scaling purposes. And you know what? We'll actually pull up why this is important. Creature class level stats. So we'll find 90. So expansion 0, expansion 1, 2, 3, and 4. Same with these. If it goes 1 through 4, then you know what it's for. It's the EXP column in creature template. Now if we keep that 0, we can set what looks like exact values for the health. Not necessarily the mana or the base armor, but at least for the health. Okay, so this is the faction that'll show up for Alliance players. We'll do 35 because that's faction friendly. NPC flag. Let's go ahead and pull up creature template here. Ah, of course. So here's the icon names. We didn't really go over that because I never personally use them. But you can set these and it'll show a different icon when you scroll over them in-game. Gossip menu ID, that of course links to gossip underscore menu and gossip underscore menu underscore option in the world database. Min-level and max level, we of course just chose that. If min-level is less than max level, it'll choose a random number between min-level and max level. And right here, it says see creature class level stats. That's the table we just looked at. Faction, it only says faction here instead of faction A and faction H because this is a older core. So again, faction A is the faction that Alliance players will see. Faction H is the faction that Horde players will see. So you can make one mob friendly to Alliance and it will also be an enemy to Horde, just as an example. NPC flag. Here's everything. Gossip, that just makes it so you can open a gossip window. These are also bitmask values, kind of like we talked about before with item template in the item creation extended video. So you just add these flags together for whichever ones you want. If you want it to be a vendor and a repairer, you would add 4096 plus 128. Speedwalk, speedrun, I'm sure you can figure out what those are. Scale of the creature, super simple. You can actually go in game and type .mod space scale space and a number between 1 through 10. Actually, I think you can go all the way down to 0.1. So yeah, you can actually use that on NPCs in game too, not just yourself. Here's the rank of the creature and some handy dandy info. Like spawn time, that's how long it takes to respawn. Corpse decay, how long it takes for the corpse to actually disappear from the world. Min damage, max damage. I'm sure you can gather what those are. If min damage is less than max damage, it will always pick a random number between the two. Damage school is right here. Pick any one of these. Attack power I never actually mess with for custom stuff. Damage multiplier, you can edit this. Again, let's go back to creature class level stats. Yeah, it looks like we can just modify that. Base attack time, default for all creatures is 2000, so it attacks every 2 seconds. Unit class, right here. It tells you what the creature will have. It could have health and mana. Good rule of thumb for custom servers is to always do 2. Here's unit flags. Take a minute to look through all of these. So like non-attackable, you can set the creature to non-attackable. Self-explanatory. Player can run up and not be able to attack the creature. Same with this. Feign death, it'll just look like the creature is dead. I don't know if it'll actually show no health, but it'll be fallen over on the ground in its death state. Dynamic flags. You can look through these if you like. I never actually use them for custom servers. I'm sure you will not need to either. And here's family. Again, you can use this if you like. I never actually use it. Okay, trainer type. I don't actually remember which ones these are. Compare it to other values in game. That's what we're going to do in this situation. Anytime you're ever confused, just look this up in the database. So trainer type does not equal 0. So these ones are all 2. So 2 must be professions. Here's a random 3. That's a stable master. Here's 1. That's a riding trainer. We'll keep scrolling through here. Looks like we can keep it 0 for class trainers. Now we scroll back over to where we were. Trainer class, trainer race. This should be the class ID or the race ID. Here is the range damage if you want them to be able to range attack. Ignore this. So here's the type. Here's a list of types for you. I almost always leave this 0 or change it to 7. Type flags. So you could make something tameable, for instance. Loot ID. So this will be for creature loot template, pickpocket loot template, and skin loot template. We'll go ahead and look at that table real quick. So your entry, you're almost always going to do the same entry as your creature, which was 500,000. We'll use a Hearthstone as an example. So 500,000, 6948 is a Hearthstone. So chance or quest chance. If you leave chance 100, it will always drop for anyone. If you change it to negative 100, it will only drop if you have a quest that requires a Hearthstone to complete. Here's loot mode. As you can see, you can set it for regular, dungeon, normal, heroic, raid, any of that. Group IDs you can change if you're going to have a bunch of gear drops. Probably change the group ID to like the class ID. So if you have, let's say, 8 items for each class that are going to drop, that's 8 times 11, 88 items. So I suppose you'd do just regular loot actually and keep it 0. And any gear drops that are class specific like I was just talking about, you'll set that to 1. And you have min count or ref here. If you want to use negative values, this will link it to reference loot template. So you do negative and then the entry to reference loot template. And max count, that would just be the maximum amount that will drop. Just leave it probably 1. So there's our first creature loot. And don't forget this step. Set the loot ID to the entry that you put in there in creature loot template. Resistances. Well, it looks like they took them out, but they should be named better. I'm not liking how these are named. Let's scroll up. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just look at these guides. So I would assume like 3 would be nature, and just mess around with these values as much as you want. So we go back to creature template. Let's kind of scroll through these. I believe you can set these spells here like Frostbolt, Fireball, for example, and then set the AI name to like caster AI, and then it should cast those spells. Min gold and max gold, kind of like we covered in the item creation extended video. So if you want 1 gold to drop, you got to do 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. So the first 2 zeros are silver, the last 2 zeros are copper, and 10. So we want it to drop between 1 and 10 gold. So 10, 0, 0, 0, 0. The inhabit type is like land, water, air. Again, you can look at other creatures for examples of this, or just change the value yourself and see how it works out for you. Movement type, as you can see here, idle is stay in one place. Random movement inside the spawn distance radius, which is spawn dist in the creature table. And 2 is waypoint movement. You can make waypoints so that these creatures follow your waypoint, walk around on a set path. So if you go into combat with them, then leave combat with them, they'll run back to the last point that they were at, or just to the nearest point that they're close to, and then they'll start on the path again. After you make waypoints, there are actually waypoint commands in game. You can do .wp space add space and then the number. Again, you'll have to find a number that hasn't been used yet. And then after you add all the points, you can do .reload waypoints or restart the server. Then go to the creature you want, do .wp space load space and then the unique ID that you were using for creating the waypoints. Hover height, distance above the ground that the creature will hover if it has movement flag disable gravity enabled. Health mod, mana mod, I believe these are all 1 because we didn't set the EXP to anything other than 0, so this should be an exact value. So if you set it to 100,000 here, the creature will have 100,000 health. It is not the same for mana. Mana will be like this number times, let's see, we did unit class 2, so that it'll be that number times 5,502. Same with armor mod. It'll be this number times 23,115. So by default, they have mana, they have armor, but their health mod will probably just be a plain old 1 in game. Racial leader. So if you set this and then kill this creature, you'll be granted honor. Quest item. I'll be honest, not sure what this is used for. If it ends up being relevant, I'll put something in the middle of the screen here right now. If there's nothing showing up on the screen. Still not important. Movement ID, I'm pretty sure that's just from sniff values. And sniffs are when somebody goes on retail and logs the network traffic. People can run a sniffer while they play and get a bunch of spawns, creature template, item template. They can get all of that. We'll cover that in a future video as well because it's really important. Regen health, just set it to 1 or 0. If you set it to 0, then obviously they won't regenerate health. Vignette, again, not sure what it's used for. Don't think it's important. Same with tracking quest ID. Mechanic immune mask. That'll be all of this. So if you don't want the creature to be able to be rooted, set this to 64, and it's a bit mask value again. So you can add all of these together, and whichever ones you want, add them together, put the value here. Flags extra, just look through this. It gives pretty good descriptions. Again, it's a bit mask value, shows right here. Add these values together on whatever you want, paste the value, good to go. Creature template add-on, you're not really going to need to know this. Path ID is for the waypoints you would have created if you chose to do waypoints. Mount would be the creature template entry for the mount you want them to use. Emote would be emote ID. Auras are a list of auras you want the creature to have, separated by spaces. If you don't want them to have any auras, leave this null. Okay, and I believe we've covered everything, so have fun with 3-pack.